Yeah. Got my books. Oh, I didn't look at his ad. I get them before I leave. Yeah, yeah, I did. Yes, sir. Now look, my lock is still screwed up.
Where's Dale?
Keep coming to loose.
It's the only agenda item we have,
It's
Mom.
just wide open.
I'll fix it. I found out what it was.
Wasn't he gonna join us today?
No. There's a screw in the back here.
I thought he was coming back today.
I'm all right. Just all right.
I do so.
Not up here.
Productive.
Okay. How about yourself?
Doing good. Just
Yeah,
trying to keep
hell, I said that when I put in this committee.
Oh, no.
You have a quorum.
Are we ready? Yes, we are.
Sure.
It is now 2:01, the Long Range Planning and Special Projects Committee meeting is called to order. Can we get the roll call, please?
Commissioner Cothran.
Here.
Commissioner Epperson.
Present.
Commissioner Lazarus.
Here.
Commissioner Victor Thomas.
Here.
Commissioner Crackman.
Here.
Commissioner Gage Watts. She is
in the
here, but
building.
out of the room at the moment. But you do have in the room at the moment 5 present, and that does constitute a quorum of 5 of 6 members present, with the 6th to be here shortly.
Okay.
Just as a note, we also have Commissioner Grace Ann Blake is also here in the audience around the groups today.
Okay, we've had the invocation in the last committee meeting and also the Pledge of Allegiance. Is there any agenda additions?
Just as a reference, we actually didn't do them in the last one because we waited a little bit late to get started. So if you did want to do them this time, that would be great. Or we could wait till the regular session meeting. Either way, but they were skipped, so I hate to skip them. I don't want to skip them all together.
Let's hear it.
Okay. So who would you like to do an invocation?
Oh, you didn't? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, yeah, we did not.
Oh, cool. All right. Can we get a invocation by Victor, and will you do the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Everyone, please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us to assemble here today. We ask for your guidance as we handle the business of the parish. We thank you for allowing us to be able to assemble as one accord. We ask for your continued strength and guidance. In your Son, Jesus' name, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Veterans and active military members saluting during recitation of the Pledge of Allegiance would be appropriate, should you wish to do so. All others, please recite with your hands over your hearts, and we ask that everyone please remember our POWs and MIAs as we say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank Commissioner Thomas and Commissioner Crackman.
Okay, thank you. And that brings us to agenda additions. I'm not aware of any unless you have any, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, do we have any public comments?
Public comments. I've not received requests for any public comments at this time. We do have a member of our PZC in the audience today who also serves on the, I'm forgetting the name of the board of Election Supervisors. And she is with us today, so I don't know if you had any comments or if you're just here to observe.
Laura Newbert, 7597 Dixie Blanchard Road in Shreveport, 71107. You have to forgive me. I thought this was the meeting that I needed to attend and understand Mr. Sibley came and spoke to you in the last meeting for long range, so I apologize. I was out of town, so I was unable to make that meeting. So I really came today thinking that we were going to be discussing possibly the need, continue the discussion for the North Caddo voting location, as well as the proposed West Shreveport. And so I was just here basically in support of Mr. Sibley as a Board of Elections Supervisor member, and I chair that board, and to see if there was any questions or anything that has, now since you guys have already met with him, if there was any holdover or any questions that y'all might have that I might be able to answer as someone that participates in the voting process each election cycle.
Thank you, Ms. Newberg. And if we have any questions, we'll come back to you at some point.
Yeah, I understand he did a really good job of explaining to you guys where we're at. I might just add one comment. I'm not, kind of maybe on the back end of this, and he may have covered this. One of the concerns that I have as someone that is involved in this process, and one of the things that I see regarding the location at the registrar's office, is that we have a very difficult time with our voters finding adequate parking. And I was contacted at some point by the clerk of court's office in one of the recent elections that we had. People were getting parking tickets as they were trying to participate in the process of voting. By statute, the registrar's office has to be an early voting location. And my personal observation, not sure that Mr. Sibley would, agree with this, it's not really a good location for the voters to come into. We also have a good degree of absentee ballots that come in each cycle that have something on them that is a possible rejection, and then we reach out to the voters and give them the opportunity to come in and cure those problems, whether it's a missing signature or a witness signature, the things that have to be filled out on that ballot. And we get responses from people when it's not a popular election, like if it's not a governor's race or a presidential race, that they're just not going to come in and do it because it's too difficult to come into downtown Shreveport and, actually find a place to park. And it's also a disadvantage for those that are disabled. I just see that that's an impediment and something that I think that we really, if we really truly want to get to the bottom of things that are stopping people from being able to be involved in this election, these election cycles, and truly open the doors to everybody, these are some things we definitely could improve upon. So I would ask that as the body here that provides most of the funding for that organization for the registrar's voters, that y'all keep that in mind, because I know we're talking about alternate locations, and there's a maximum number that we can have, and my understanding is at this point we're approved for 3. Although we are only operating 2. So I would ask that y'all keep that in mind. I know that building is shared with the DA's office, and that, go ahead.
Motion to extend
Sorry.
for 3 more minutes.
Proper move second, all in favor?
So I would just bring up that it's not the best location in terms of the logistics that we have. By statute, we, as a board, are responsible to oversee everybody that's working on ballots. And the way that room is designed that we work in, there is one main door, and then behind the main door are individual offices that they use for the jury pools. So we did the best we can with it, but we have to spread the board out, and it's really not something, we really should be in a big room all together at tables where every board member can see everything that's going on. So that's been an impediment from the board's position, in my opinion. So if there's anything I can answer for you guys, just let me know. I'm just here to, add some things that maybe Mr. Sibley did not cover. And then I'll close with this. Mr. Sibley does a terrific job with very few resources, or let's say permanent full-time employees. If we're serious about manning these additional locations, he is going to have some additional employees full-time in his office. I see the struggle. I'm part of it. I watch what happens. I watch what Dale goes through every cycle to try to get this done, and they handle an enormous amount of paperwork out and paperwork in. We were probably knocking 10,000 absentee ballots during the presidential election that a board of 5 people and his office and whoever we can get from the clerk of court to process the day of election. And it's a huge volume. So that's really all I have to say.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Moving on to new business.
Okay, that concludes our public comments and new business today. We have the first item is to discuss and make recommendations regarding whether to authorize the administrator to pursue the implementation of the West Caddo early voting site through the Secretary of State's office for use during the 2026 election cycle, while also proceeding with the implementation of the approved North Caddo early voting site as soon as possible. This is an item that was remanded to this committee from the full from the full body during their July 3rd regular session. And for your reference, attached are the comments that the Registrar of Voters, Dale Sibley, made during your work session meeting on Monday. It's the full draft minutes for the work session, but his comments are done verbatim, so that you have a full set of what he said that you can reference.
Thank you. Comments? Go ahead.
I'd just like to state, thank the young lady for coming down, speaking in reference to that. A number of the issues that she mentioned, we are aware of them, but right now we are focusing on the possibility of having the early voting sites. And I'd just like to comment on some things that Mr. Sibley stated, or anyone else that's stating. My position is not to get any kind of advantage. My position is to make sure that we have early voting sites geographically located throughout the parish. And if you put a map of Caddo Parish up, I'm for North Caddo. We're good down at Hamilton. Downtown, of course, we've mentioned these issues. Always been on the table. Why they haven't been addressed, I don't know. And get one in West Caddo. 4 good geographic sites located. Madam Clerk, did you get the maps that I had drawn up? Did I send those to you? I'd like to share those with you all. I did a map pinpointing some areas within a 5-mile radius of the potential site in West Caddo. And I'd just like to mention that, you know, the parish had an integral part in designing the OMV. And we had it in our mind when we designed the OMV that it would be a good potential site for an early voting site. We did all the wiring. As far as we knew, of course, there's a special line that would have to come in from the for the early voting site. However, but everything else we put in place. We worked with the Commissioner of Public Safety and employees at that center to make sure that we designed it just like they wanted. We got a room that will be enough space, and so that's my position, is not to give anyone a distinct advantage as far as early voting is concerned, but to do 4 geographic locations in Caddo Parish that will be easily accessible to all. And when I look at the OMV site up there, you got Highway 79 north and south, you got 169 north and south, you got I-20 east and west, you got 3132, you got 220, you got I-49 and 220. And basically you can go from, say, Jimmy Davis Bridge on 220 and go north into North Market in less than 20 minutes via 3132. So that's what I looked at the logistics. And it won't be a problem. And then what I heard Dale say, of course, he has to look at the sites, and of course he has to do that. And I want everyone else to look at the sites. And I'm just thinking that's why I think it will be advantageous, and we will have 4 distinct early voting sites geographically located within the parish, probably less than 10 or 12 minutes of any voter that wanted to vote early. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other comments?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am glad that we did have that visit by Mr. Sibley. That really opened my eyes to a lot of what are the root causes for some of these issues and problems that we're having. He definitely clarified for me a lot as it relates to the requirements required by the state for an early voting location, our role in early voting and just elections, period. One of the good things that I heard is that he has seen the sites and he's working on trying to implement those sites. And I look forward to his assessment of the West Caddo location. I think it's important for us also to recognize the caution that he presented as far as staffing. Also, Ms. Newbert, I think it gives us time now to be able to start training and recruiting those individuals to work those elections and have them staffed. I think that's going to be very, very key. In order to make this work. As Ms. Newbert just stated today, they have staffing issues with our current elections, and I think that's something that we, in all fairness, have to be mindful of what Mr. Sibley stated. If we're going to increase from 3 to 4, we need to go ahead and start being at the forefront of taking care of that problem. Let's get that information out. How easy it is to become an election official. The training that's provided for it, so that those citizens who have a willingness to serve can serve, and we can be able to staff for the 4 locations. I did hear what he stated about how our population doesn't necessarily warrant those. However, I think geographically, it creates a process that necessitates having 4 early voting location. I'm definitely aware of the severity and security that's situated around early voting. I think that was something that he wanted to make sure that we were aware of as well, and not that we're thinking of these as in terms of precincts, but understanding that early voting is an actual event, not just a day and not just a one location thing. It involves a lot. It involves a lot of security and a lot of staffing. So I think that's one of the key things that we can start working on right now. I appreciate that it said it's not something that we can just rush into. And like I said, I think if we can deal with the staffing issues now and start working towards that, then we will be able to adequately staff these early voting locations.
Thank you. Anyone else? Please.
Yeah, I'm glad he came down too, because whenever we had originally discussed this issue, he was out of town. How convenient for us. But I did see the holes in the letter from the Secretary of State because it included the wrong location. And so I think it's important to, well, we put the cart before the horse. And it's important for us just to let our resolutions sit as they are and ask for the 4 and let Dale finish his work. Because I feel like Landry's office sent us approval for something that he didn't even finish yet. And so, you know, I'm not so sure there's a actual motion to make here other than to let the resolution stand, you know, and let him finish his work. And he gave us a lot of awesome input. And hopefully he can correlate with the Secretary of State and make sure that the proper locations are listed, because he was looking at 2 that didn't even qualify. And now he sees 1 in District 1 that is pretty close to qualification, and they had a couple of holes to seal up. So, yeah, I think it's important to let him finish his work. Thank you.
Any additional comments? Please.
Thank you. Commissioners, Mr. Sibley did contact me after the meeting on Monday, and he wanted to clarify that while the registrar has the responsibility for analyzing and making the recommendation for the early voting, there is a memo of understanding that has to be signed by the parish governing authority. It has to be drafted by the parish attorney once that process is done. I think he said that the commission didn't have a role, but there would be a MOU that has to be signed, and it's actually signed by the parish president, not by the administrator. So he wanted me to clarify that.
Thank you. Any other comments, please?
I agree with Mr. Crackman. Mr. Sibley called me also because I don't think he was aware of the intent on the OMV. I don't think he got that information. And so I put him in, told him he can get in touch with Mr. Will Bradford. You know, we worked together designing the OMV. And then I put him in touch with the regional supervisor of the OMV. They've had a leadership change, so we're going to have to we want to put him in touch with her, and he wanted to tour that facility. And so it's a process. And of course, I don't know how many of you are familiar with, work with Mike Spence, not only to staff the early voting precincts, but operation, but the regular precincts too. So, but I think that'll be left up to us. And when I do the job fair within my particular district, I do my public meetings. I always emphasize the fact that if you're interested in being an election poll worker, precinct worker, to contact Mike Spence, and I've had him on my teleconference calls and include him in everything. And there are some people that's interested, especially a lot of the seniors that have recently retired and just looking for something else to do. So it can be done, but I think the process right now is to let Mr. Sibley work it from his particular point of view. Thank you.
Before you speak, Commissioner Lazarus, anything?
I don't really care where we put early voting sites. I will say that Mr. Sibley seems to think we're stretching to do a third. 4 is unattainable, according to him. Reading from his comments, our parish, in my opinion, doesn't need 4 early voting sites. To me, it's a stretch to do a third, but it makes sense depending on where it is. To me, people in West Shreveport can be downtown 10, 15-minute drive. These people from Vivian, Oil City, they're driving 40 and 50 minutes. So if we're trying to help do the most good, then I think we ought to focus on the North Caddo site. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thomas. Commissioner Thomas?
Thank you. I was wondering, what can we do now to try to start bolster a campaign to try to start attracting the poll workers, the election supervisors to our citizens? Or would there be could you find out if there's some kind of resources that that Mr. Sibley's office may need in order to try to do more, I guess you could say, in order to try to attract those workers?
Yes, sir. We'll work with him. I think that the commission provides an adequate budget to be able to cover those items. But we'll reach out to Mr. Sibley to see what else we can do to attract. Now, the poll workers, the pay is set by the state. We don't get to set the pay, so we can't give those workers a raise. But that pay is low. Now, his regular employees of his office, the parish contributes to that, and we usually hire more part-time because we can pay for more part-time. His full-time staff are supposed to be shared between us and the state, which then sometimes prohibits him from hiring because the state may not be in a posture to want to add to his staff. But we could look at whether or not we would pay a full-time employee totally without the state's assistance. I would have to give a legal on that because we've had issues with employees. Those are not our employees. And so we have to make sure that that's clear, that they don't work for us. So if we pay a full-time person, we can have a conflict there.
Okay, thank you.
Were you saying something, Ms. Frazier?
I did want to add to that. Initially, the registrar of voters was thought to be a hybrid position between state and parish since it was appointed by the parish. But there was a more recent AG's opinion, I guess, that superseded the other one that says it's strictly a state position. So that kind of hamstrings some other things that we may have been able to do since we have that ruling, and we're, as a matter of fact, using that now in some litigation where we've been sued for workers' compensation benefits for a poll worker. So, but the state official that interprets state law said it was a state position. So there you have it.
Thank you. Gracianne, did you have anything you would like to share? Okay, Madam President?
No, well, yes, Mr. Chair, I would like to just say that I agree with the sentiments that have been shared about making an instant decision on what we have been presented before us. I do believe that there's a lot of due diligence that is out there for both of the sites to be considered, as well as Mr. Sibley coming down to address us about some of the concerns that we had. As Vice President Epperson said, it has always been my desire as well to see 4 early voting locations across the parish. And from the very first time this legislation was introduced, I said I would like to see them in the north, south, east, and the west. I do understand that there are some challenges with getting employees. However, I do believe that they also have a role that they could actually pull from at this time, because I know that I have personally given them information for people to apply for these positions for the early voting sites. But it is a lot of discussion that we still need to have before we do anything of moving forward and making recommendations to our administrator to go forward. So I'm in agreement with, and because I've already spoken, I really wanted to make a motion, but in agreement not to take any action today moving forward unless it's something to just table this until another time. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Would someone like to make a motion, please?
I'll make a motion that,
Hold on.
go ahead, I'm sorry.
I want a question.
Go ahead.
You say we are in a situation whether we stating whether Mr. Sibley is a state employee or parish?
Yes. I mean,
Who pays his salary?
I think we either supplement it or we pay, either we supplement it. I don't think we pay his full salary. And he can only be removed by the Board of Election Supervisors.
Okay. And when did that come into play?
Which one?
The being removed by the Board of Supervisors?
I would have to look that one up, but that's in the state statute.
Okay. And could you also give me the amount of his salary that we supplement? So I guess, okay, you take like the Department of Veterans Affairs, we're responsible for the building, right? That's in the Constitution.
Yes, sir.
And furnishings
Yes, sir.
and land management, but no salaries or nothing. Okay. Thank you.
You had a question?
Yeah, aside from that, I thought not to be wrong, I thought that the poll workers were with the clerk of court.
The situation that
Are they both separate?
the poll workers are with the clerk of court. However, we maintain the precinct, so we've gotten dragged into lawsuits that way. And then as far as the registrar's employees that may work at some of the polls, we've gotten dragged into workers' compensation litigation
Right.
that way.
Okay, that's all I have.
I would add that I think part of the confusion is that for every election, the parish gets bills for that. Even though those may not be our employees, we have to pay certain costs related to elections. And I think when you have issues, employees want to go after whomever they can in order. And so that's how the parish is being pulled into some of those lawsuits.
And Mr. Chair, if I could, just a point of information, approximately how much does each election cost Caddo Parish Commission?
Varies, though, depending on if we have something on the ballot. So if we have something on the ballot, it could be substantial depending on what else is on the ballot. So a state election, for example, we may have minimal costs because the state has the governors and their office. If it's an initiative just for the parish, we may end up having to pay for the entire election, which is over $200,000.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to hear, because in the special election, that's about how much it would cost.
Right, so we have tended not to do special elections because they're so expensive.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Commissioner Thomas?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to make a motion to table item 6.1, pending much needed information from the registrar of voters. And that we revisit this information.
Properly moving second. All those in favor, let it be known. Okay,
Is there
100%.
opposition?
No opposition.
Okay.
And the thing is, I just kind of defer to the administrator to let us know once Mr. Sibley come up with those things that he said he was going to do as far as the north and west
Yes, sir.
sites.
We resent him the information that we originally sent. We originally sent a letter in both resolutions. We have resent that to him, and he said that he will be considering both areas.
Correct. Anything?
I have a question too, and Mr. Chairman, this is, if I may direct this to Commissioner Epperson, because I'm definitely in favor of the OMV. I just want to be proactive, and is there any other locations? I don't want us to end up in a situation like with North Caddo, where the two locations aren't eligible or may pose certain challenges. As he's doing his fact finding, are there any other locations in West Caddo that would be?
I'm glad you mentioned that. Western Hills Baptist Church, one of the precincts in District 12, has opted out as far as holding a precinct. And I think we're in the process now of looking at Bill Cockrell.
Okay.
So that's why I did some data on Bill Cockrell too, which is basically just right across, less than a half a mile from where we are now. Same logistics as an alternative.
Okay. Thank you. I just didn't want us to end up, not having options as well and having hard no's on that. So, thank you.
Okay, is there anything else for the good of the order?
Move to adjourn.
So moved.
It was good. It went.
I was so
really
glad
good.
that they talked about me and because I was.
Turn it off.
Oh,
You want to say?
Ms. Nation, did you get a photo of that mural presentation?